Abbey Caves in northern New Zealand offers a unique adventure for those seeking an unspoiled natural experience. These caves remain untouched by human modifications, and there are no guides to lead the way. You're truly on your own. The journey through Abbey Caves follows a circular path that spans about 4,265 feet, featuring three main caves: Organ Cave, Middle Cave, and Ivy Cave. Along the way, signs will help you find your way, but it's important to remember that you're navigating at your own risk. Organ Cave requires a bit of a climb to reach the cave floor. The entrance is a tight squeeze between a rock and the cave wall. The cave itself is about 984 feet long, with impressive striped walls and a round chamber that's home to glowworms. Ivy Cave, located near a stream, is the last stop. It's a bit tricky to access, requiring you to navigate down a slippery stone slope and crouch through narrow passages. This cave is about 656 feet long and consists of two main sections. Middle Cave is the easiest to access, with a wide entrance and a flat, ankle-deep water path. However, safety is paramount when exploring these caves. The underground environment can be unpredictable, with risks like sudden water rises and falling rocks, particularly at the entrance to Organ Cave. On May 9, 2023, the students of Whangarei Boys High School in northern New Zealand were filled with anticipation. It was not an ordinary school day. 15 students and 2 teachers were about to embark on an outdoor education trip to Abbey Caves Reserve. Among them was 15-year-old Karen P., a bright student eager to explore the wonders of the caves. The trip was supposed to be a day of adventure and learning, but it would soon turn into a tragic event that would deeply affect the entire community. The day started like any other, with the students gathering at the school early in the morning. They were all excited, chatting about the day ahead and what they might discover in the caves. The teachers briefed the students on the activities planned for the day, which included exploring the caves and learning about the unique geological formations within them. Abbey Caves, located near Whangarei, is a popular destination for school trips and outdoor activities. The caves are known for their impressive rock formations, underground streams, and the challenge they present to explorers. However, on that same morning, around 9 a.m., the National Broadcasting Service issued a weather warning. Meteorologists predicted heavy rain in the region, which could lead to rapidly rising streams and rivers. Abbey Caves in particular was flagged as a high-risk area for flash floods. Despite these warnings, the decision was made to proceed with the trip. The school's outdoor education program was an important part of the curriculum, and the teachers believed that the experience would be valuable for the students. The group arrived at Abbey Caves Reserve in high spirits. The weather was cloudy, but there was no immediate sign of the heavy rain that had been predicted. The students were eager to start exploring, and the teachers began guiding them toward the entrance of Organ Cave, one of the largest and most impressive caves in the reserve. The students, including Karan, were filled with excitement as they prepared to enter the cave. For many of them, it was their first time exploring a cave, and they were eager to see what lay inside. As the group made their way into Organ Cave, they were captivated by the beauty of the underground world. The cave's walls were lined with intricate rock formations, and the students marveled at the natural wonders around them. The teachers led the group through the main passage, explaining the geological processes that had formed the cave over thousands of years. The students listened intently, eager to learn and explore further. But as they ventured deeper into the cave, the weather outside began to change. Dark clouds gathered overhead, and the first drops of rain began to fall. The rain quickly intensified, turning into a torrential downpour. The streams around the cave, which had been calm when the group arrived, started to swell rapidly. Inside the cave, the students and teachers were unaware of the danger that was approaching. Suddenly, the water inside the cave began to rise. What had been a dry passage just moments before was now filling with water at an alarming rate. The students and teachers quickly realized that they were in a dangerous situation. Panic set in as the water continued to rise and the group scrambled to find higher ground. The cave, which had seemed like a safe place to explore, was now turning into a trap. Karan, along with his classmates, tried to stay calm as they navigated the rising water. The teachers did their best to keep the group together, urging the students to move quickly and stay close. But the water was rising too fast. The current became stronger, making it difficult to maintain balance. The students, some of whom were not strong swimmers, struggled to keep their heads above water. As the group moved through the cave, the water level continued to rise, reaching their waists, then their chests, and finally their necks. The situation was dire. In the chaos, Karan lost his footing and was swept away by the powerful current. Despite the efforts of his classmates and teachers to reach him, the water was too strong. Karan was carried deeper into the cave, where the currents made it impossible for him to escape. The group, now realizing that one of their own was missing, was filled with fear and desperation. Outside the cave, a construction worker named Caleb Salisbury was going about his day, working on a nearby project. As the rain intensified, Caleb noticed the unusual amount of water accumulating around the site. He then saw a group of young boys running towards him, clearly distressed. The boys had managed to escape the cave and were frantically seeking help. Caleb, understanding the urgency of the situation, immediately stopped what he was doing and called emergency services. Caleb didn't hesitate to act. After making the call, he joined the boys and rushed to the entrance of the cave, where he saw one of the teachers inside struggling to rescue the remaining students. Emergency responders arrived on the scene within minutes. They quickly assessed the situation and began efforts to rescue the trapped students. The conditions inside the cave were challenging. The rescue teams worked tirelessly, but the cave's narrow passages and the powerful current made their task extremely difficult. The teacher inside the cave managed to rescue several students, pulling them from the water and guiding them to safety, but when he realized that Kyron was still missing, he was devastated. The weight of the tragedy bore down on him, and he was left heartbroken and guilt-ridden. As news of the incident spread, search and rescue teams continued to look for Kyron. They used specialized equipment to comb through the cave and surrounding areas, hoping to find him. The search went on for hours, with the rescue teams refusing to give up, but as the day wore on, hope began to fade. After more than 6 hours of searching, the decision was made to pause the search for the night due to the dangerous conditions. The rescuers were exhausted, and the rising water made it too dangerous to continue. Later that night, the search resumed, and tragically, Kyron's lifeless body was found. He had been swept away by the floodwaters, and his young life was lost. A helicopter was used to recover his body and transport him from the site. The discovery of Kyron's body was a devastating blow to the community, and the loss was felt deeply by everyone involved. On September 9, 1990, Mark Healy checked into a YMCA hostel in Melbourne. He told his family he was heading out for a skiing trip to clear his mind, but in truth, Healy had a different plan. The plan that would end in tragedy. Healy had two loves in life, the thrill of adventure and the joy of teaching. Every chance he got, he was out exploring. Australia was his favorite destination, and he had embarked on countless expeditions across Tasmania and Western Australia. Whether he was skiing down snowy slopes, navigating through caves, or hiking along rugged trails, Healy lived for the excitement of the great outdoors. Over the years, he honed his skills and became quite the expert, always seeking the next adrenaline rush and the beauty of uncharted territories. But just as much as he loved his adventures, Healy was passionate about teaching. He often said that educating young minds was his true calling. His dedication to his students was evident in everything he did. He believed in the power of education and inspiring the next generation. So when the school where he taught announced a special excursion to encourage students to embrace adventure, Healy was over the moon. The cherry on top was when he was selected to lead the trip. It was the perfect blend of his two great loves, adventure and teaching. He couldn't have been more excited, not knowing the dark twist this journey would take. The students were told this trip wasn't for those with weak hearts. The itinerary included rock climbing, whitewater rafting, and cave exploration. Despite the stern warning, many students eagerly signed up. They were drawn to the thrill and the promise of a memorable experience. One of the places they planned to explore was the Mystery Creek Cave, nestled within Southwest National Park. Although ideal for beginner cavers, it was not without its risks. There were hidden dangers, and a lack of caution could turn a thrilling adventure into a deadly one. Nonetheless, with his extensive experience, Healy felt confident in his ability to lead the students safely through the cave. On the morning of July 2nd, 1990, 19 students eagerly gathered for the expedition. They were buzzing with excitement, chatting about the adventure that awaited them. 8 of them were particularly excited about the cave exploration. They had heard stories about the cave's beauty and were eager to see it for themselves. Knowing the potential risks, Healy enlisted the help of another teacher, Joanne, and a seasoned colleague, Danielle. He wanted to ensure that the students were well supervised and safe at all times. By noon, the group was on their way, ready for an adventure. Despite the gloomy, rainy weather, they were well prepared, with sturdy boots, helmets, and wetsuits, ensuring they could handle the challenges ahead. As they approached the entrance to Mystery Creek Cave, they met a man who had just exited. He was drenched and looked weary. He warned them that the cave was flooded up to his boots due to the heavy rain, and suggested they come back another day. He shared his concern about the rising water levels and the potential danger, but Healy, confident in his expert, decided to proceed. He believed he could guide the students through the cave safely. He had faced challenging conditions before and trusted his skills and judgment. Inside the cave was even more breathtaking than they had imagined. The walls were adorned with glowworms, casting a magical, luminous ambiance. However, they soon encountered rising water levels. To cross safely, Healy demonstrated a clever technique he had learned from his many expeditions. They would form a human chain with the strongest students at each end and Healy in the middle where the water was deepest. Those not in the chain would hold on to it as they crossed. This method worked perfectly, and the students found it both effective and enjoyable, eager to use it again. By 4:30 p.m., they reached a narrow section known as the Matchbox Squeeze. This part of the cave was notoriously tight, requiring them to wriggle through to continue on their path. It was a challenge, but they were up for it. On the other side, they moved towards the cave entrance via the laundry chute. As they progressed, Healy noticed the sound of water was getting louder, indicating rising pressure. The noise of the flowing water echoed through the cave, creating an ominous soundtrack to their journey. Healy decided they needed to use the human chain technique again to cross safely. The students enthusiastically formed the chain, but this time the water was up to Healy's knees and the current was stronger. They began crossing, but the first student, a petite girl, almost fell due to the current. Healy caught her just in time, and she made it across safely. His heart raced with concern, but he kept calm to avoid alarming the students. He knew that if he showed fear, it would only increase their anxiety. The next student started crossing. Encouraged by Healy and the others, they cheered her on, providing words of encouragement and support. Just as she was about to reach the other side, the current pulled her down. She screamed for help, and Healy knew he had to act quickly. Her friend and one of the teachers, Joanne, rushed to save her, but the current pulled them too. The situation was becoming increasingly dire. Healy realized he needed to get the remaining students to safety first. He couldn't afford to lose any more time. He led them out of the cave quickly, urging them to stay close and move swiftly. The rain had made the ground slippery, and they had to be careful with each step. Once the students were safe, Healy returned to search for the missing. 3 hours passed with no sign of them. Authorities arrived, finding Healy devastated. The 3 victims were later found, but it was too late. The cave claimed their lives. Despite the tragedy, Healy was hailed as a hero. People praised his efforts, acknowledging the bravery and dedication he had shown. He had done everything in his power to ensure the safety of the students, but Healy couldn't shake the guilt. He felt responsible, believing he could have done more to prevent the loss. The weight of the tragedy pressed heavily on him, haunting his every thought. 2 months later, unable to cope with the pain, Healy packed some gear and told his family he was going skiing. They wished him well, unaware of the turmoil he was facing. He checked into the AMK hostel in Melbourne. In a moment of despair, he climbed to the 10th floor and ended his life. The loss of Healy was a devastating blow to those who knew him. He had been a source of inspiration and strength, and his absence left a void that could never be filled.